I did the thing. Oh, this is the wrong size.
Oh,
Fuck.
man.
Help. There we go. Now I can read shit. Amazing. Should probably tweet this. That was stupid.
Tweet it.
Whoops! Professional YouTuber in the building. That's not the right title. YouTube, what the fuck? I trusted you.
Yo, we out here.
Ah! Help. Holy Christ. Hi, everyone. That was remarkably fast.
Dang, that blew up.
Hello. How you doing?
Oh, man.
So, unless you're concussed, you might have noticed we just dropped 2 tracks within 15 minutes of each other. And they both sounded a little similar. That's because one's an original and one's a remix. So, I thought it would be interesting for anybody who's heard it. If you haven't, the link's in the description. Knock yourself out. If you have any questions for the actual producers that did all the actual hard work, because all I did was sing shittily into a microphone. But if you have any questions for them, here you go. Ask away. They did all the hard mixing and EQing and OTTing shit. I did not.
I did the OTTing.
I was about to say, I'm like, can't have a song without that OTT, man.
I know.
I think it would be pretty cool, actually, to kind of start it off. Like, if you kind of talked about, the lyrics and where the song kind of came from, because, because it was you that originally, wrote the song, and...
Yeah, it didn't sound anything like this when it started, either.
It was...
It sounded nothing like this.
Yeah, because I was just kind of perusing the Twitter sphere one day, and I saw you post. It was like, hey, so I got some old lyrics just kind of laying around if anyone wants to, take a stab at, working with it. And I was like, all right, I'll take a shot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, I really loved the vibe. It was some real shit. Like, I don't know if you guys, like, again, if you haven't heard the song, go check it out. But the lyrics, you can tell, like, it just comes from, like, an incredibly real place, and it's kind of hard to, like, kind of find something like that where it's where you feel like something is genuine, and I 100% felt that when I listened to the just the acapella too.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, we got to do something with this,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So the original lyrics, the story goes, for those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you kind of know what I'm alluding to here. I basically was going through couples counseling with my ex. Yes, with my at the time ex, we were trying to be civil to one another, and I needed to call in a professional because he's a fucking idiot. So on one of the days I had to go in for couples counseling, I got there first, about 10 minutes early, and after I was then exactly on time, he wasn't there yet, so I was still waiting, and I was getting more and more pissed off, and I found out that he was with some other chick, which is totally fine, by the way. Like, I don't care about that, but he was basically blowing off our appointment to be with some other chick after he had made me make the appointment because he wanted to get back together, and I'm just like, wow, that's a head fuck. So, like any reasonable human, I started humming a little beat to myself to keep myself entertained. Still didn't show up, and then I just started writing down some lyrics, came up with a little melody, sang it into a piece of garbage iPhone, or not iPhone, like a cell phone. And then when I got home, because he didn't show up ever, I decided to just leave.
Mm-hmm.
So after I got home, I recorded it properly. Chris Moon did the original mastering on the original vocals that didn't get used for this, and then I sent them to you, basically. That's how that happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like I was listening to it, and I don't know, it was like I really liked you guys should have heard like the original version of it, because it doesn't sound like the original that we came out with. I was just kind of like listening to it, and personally, I was like, man, it'd be, because my background is like a lot of R&B and hip hop and all that, and I was like, man, this sounds like it reminded me of like some older R&B songs where it'd be like you cheated on me and you're fucking wrong for that. I'm gonna write a song about you kind of vibe. I was like, let me take it back. So I kind of like redid the original vocal that she did. I kind of sung out some stuff and like resung it, and I like sent her back like a beat behind what I was just kind of vibing with, and I was like, "Could you sing it like this?" And she was like,
Yep.
"Yeah."
Yep. Totally can.
Basically. Yeah.
So real quick, we got actually a question in the chat I was looking at.
Oh, thank
from-
you, because I can't fucking see.
Yeah, no, I'm browsing the chat right now.
Thank
So
you.
Ice Bane asked a little bit ago. I like both of the songs. How long did the original and the remix take?
Uh,
I'd say the original it took a while.
a couple
only
months.
because it was like, well, yeah, I'd say it was probably about 2 months or so. It was just because the thing with like working with like vocals, it's like you have to do like certain takes and like you have to like see like what works well and like what could be like worked on and everything like that. And it kind of sucks to do that online, especially because like she lives in New York and I live in Washington State, so like our time zones are really different, and it was hard to like
somewhere
kind
in
of
the middle.
yeah, right in the middle, man.
And my mic
But
setup
yeah,
is
it was-
atrocious.
Yeah, so it kind of took a while to kind of get the vocals like dialed in like super tight, just because it was like it's hard to like do vocals when the person isn't right there, with you, because you can't just like hit the space bar and be like, all right, so like what if we did it like this? It's just kind of like a trial and error. Like she would try a few things, and I'd be like, all right, that was dope. Can we try it this way? All that jazz. And then and then I was kind of like listening to the original beat that I had made, and I was like, man, I kind of want to like rework it, and so I kind of reworked it, and what the original is now is what we got.
Yep.
And
The remix, I guess, intake. I mean, because I streamed making the remix on YouTube. What? Couple days ago.
Couple
maybe?
days ago, which is nothing.
Like
Yeah,
what?
literally.
Do you know off the top of your head what day that was?
Ooh.
Wasn't that like it was Wednesday?
Wednesday, I
Think
think.
so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe.
Because I work from home. Yeah, it was Wednesday.
Yeah. So Wednesday night, I got the stems and worked for probably about 4 hours on it. I didn't go to bed till probably about 2 a.m. and was grinding on that a little bit. Got half of it done, and then next day I did a little bit in the morning. I went to work, and then I finished it that night. So that was probably another 4 hours. So in a nutshell, it took me about the same timeline of a weekend. And I had a couple of breaks here and there. But what I do a lot with my production is when I get an idea, I stick with it and I go on it until it's either completely written out or we do something around it. You could take a look, because I'm not one, I guess, to take breaks. And so I knock it out in one sitting, and if I like it, then I'm like, okay, cool. I'll revisit that the next day, and if it sounds cool, then I'll keep going. So
Yeah.
it only took me roughly probably 4 days, I'd say. But those 4 days were pretty much grinding about anywhere from 2 to 5 hours, I'd say. Grinding
Yeah,
on it for
you
4
did
days.
already have lyrics though. That
Yeah.
that kind of having the vocal stems probably helps a whole
Yeah, it
lot.
did,
I think the
it did.
biggest hurdle was just getting the damn vocal stems to come out right,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
kept
So-
fucking up.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was just there were some EQing things that we did and stuff like that, so that's fine. So another question from the almighty Ope, I think that's what it is. Do you guys have any other collabs in the works? Off the top of my head, not really, but we could probably do one in the future, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I could see you guys working really well together. I mean, because you
Yeah.
guys have kind of similar tastes in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean this remix I did a house remix, but most of the time I'll do like a future bass or something like that, because I always love that kind of stuff. So it really doesn't matter to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye Delta in chat. Dude, do know that if you don't like vaping or drinking, this probably isn't the channel you want to be on. Because I'm 30 and I
But
do that.
I just read that. Not my type of furry. Goodbye.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
Shit.
I don't take any
Not
offense
my
to
type
it.
of
But
furry.
have a lovely night wherever you end up going. I don't think anyone else is live, so you're in for a bad time. But that's okay. But also, hi Zion. Hey Swiftbane, what's up? I was summoned when I heard Future Bass. Correct. Swifty is a future bass boy. He's probably one of the ones that I share music with the most outside of maybe you guys.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Future bass is pretty dope.
Yeah, I feel like with future bass, man, it was getting kind of stale around like 2016. It kind of felt
Hi
like
Ragehound,
sounded the
it's
same.
been
I
a
feel like
while
it's kinda
since we've chatted.
entering like this kind of resurgence as of late, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh,
No,
Richie,
definitely.
thank you so much
Yeah.
for the $1, bro. It's been a while since we've chatted. Yeah, it's been a bit. For those who are like, where have you been? Where did you go? Are you under a rock? I have a job now, so my job
For
takes
sec-
up a lot of my day. So I do apologize. It means I don't stream that much during the week.
For a second, I thought you said, "Where have you been? Where were you arrested?" I thought you were gonna say, "Were you arrested?"
No, not yet.
You were arrested.
Not yet.
Not yet. But Electric Zoo is coming, and I'm sure I'll do something stupid.
Oh yeah, I'll have to bail you. I'll have to bail you after that.
Yay!
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Electric
Crazy
Zoo
doggo
playing
on
there.
the loose.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Facebook kind of kicked back up finally. Got super stale. Kind of like the early 90s and 80s techno. Dude, I want that to come
Yeah, man.
back. I miss it. None of this,
lot of stuff
none of
that
this make the
we're-
same song build up for 30 minutes crap. I want like really good danceable house again. That's what I want.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna do my best. I promise. Yeah. Another question from Almighty again. What music do you like to listen to while you guys create? Well,
You
do
could
you
take
want
that.
to start on that one? Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it depends. You know, when I made this original beat, as far as like structure wise, I listen to songs for like two different reasons. I'll listen to songs to kind of borrow the structure, as in, like how many bars is it taking for the intro, bridge, chorus, drop. I'll listen to songs for structure reasons. And when I was making this one, I was listening to that Halsey song "Without You" a lot.
Oh my god! It's funny you say that. I actually was gonna cover that at one point.
Oh shit!
Uh-oh.
I might have a vocal stem of that
Three-piece
somewhere.
collab right there.
I might have
That's
a stem.
three-piece. We're gonna three-piece that one.
I kind of already have that stem done. Oops, a daisy. I'll send that at some point. It's fair.
We're getting a couple other questions too. So I'll answer that other one too. What kind of music do you guys listen to where you guys create? So I don't listen to music while I create stuff. I listen to music I'm assuming that wasn't what your question was, like, but to songs that I like to listen to like in the process of creating them. I listen to a lot of house stuff. I listen to a lot of older house, a lot of R&B. I grew up on jazz. Things that have really cool chords in them, like sevenths, add nines. I'm actually going to school for production and musical analysis and theory. So understanding the background of music is something that I really take a lot of heart into. And so just hearing anything, I mean, really from electronic music to just jazz or R&B or even classical stuff, just stuff that you'd hear waiting for your dentist in the hallway or something.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
Yeah.
stuff like that really just grasps you, and that's like, oh, that's really interesting how that was built. So that's
Also,
kind of where I go.
thank
from
you,
there.
Kintu the Progen, for the $1 through Super Chat. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So a couple other questions that we're getting is from Icebane, how many songs have you guys made, and how long have you been in the music production area for? So how many songs have I made?
Enough to crash
Okay,
Ableton.
so
Yeah.
I've DJ'd music since 2012. I've produced since 2016. So in that 3-year span, I think I've made probably over 60 songs. I used to do a song every month, and that's kind of because of work and college started to get a little longer. But yeah, I probably do something like that. And how long have you been in the music production thing for? Again, that's like a 2015, 2016 area. What about you?
Man, I'm kind of like in the same vein. I guess like I started DJing around like 2012, something like that, and I was just like doing it like in high school, all that jazz. But I don't think I started taking it seriously until about 2015, and I'd done like production DJing since 2012. But then I got out of high school and I started to go to a music production school in 2015. I was like, man, I should do this for real. But as far as like songs I've made, that that are actually out. One.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, Zelda.
Yeah, that I'm actually just like that is online. Just one. I guess
Just
now too with
Well,
this
you
one,
you
with,
had
Raven.
at least 2 mixes up, right? No, you have the other one that you have on your
Yeah.
SoundCloud. That one.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's you know, the one that we just put out today, and then another one that's kind of like a, you know, kind of dubsteppy trap. But I have a ass load of just unreleased things. I'm just kind of like sitting on and like waiting for the right time to put out.
I
So
feel
I
like
got a
that's
couple of those
not
as well.
unusual. I feel like that
Yeah.
that happens with like every friend of mine that produces. Like I don't know if you guys know DJ Flo out of Seattle, but
Yeah.
he's a Glover. I've actually the one time I went to Seattle, I actually stayed at his house, and the number of projects in his DAW was
Oh man.
insane.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, dude, you've got 50 amazing tracks here. He's like, no, I only got like 2 good ones. I'm like, bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on
That's
all
the
of that.
That's the mindset of most producers is when you hear something that's really good, the producer most likely is going to be like, nah,
No, I
it's
don't really
throw
like
away.
it. Needs more production. I'm like,
Yeah,
excuse.
that's exactly it.
He finally
Yeah.
put it out, thank Christ. But I was just like, dude, it sounds dope. He's like, I don't know. I don't like anything I do. I'm like, neither do I, but I still put it on SoundCloud. So there's that.
So-
I don't know if you keep up with him, but he's getting ready to fucking unleash hell.
Yeah, he's actually one of my
lot
best
of
friends.
music
That's
ready
the
to go.
funniest part.
Really?
Yeah, we're friends through gloving. He's known me since before I was a furry.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
cool.
real long. Wow, you guys got a lot of questions in chat. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I was reading them. Video Wolf asked Rage, how's your day going?
I'm glad it's over. I'll put it that way. I'm glad I'm done with work today.
And then I'm going to say this with an accent. Jesus de la Torre. It's probably not it, but I just wanted to do it anyway. Asked Rage, hey Rage, are you going to TFF?
We'll see. I don't know yet. I really want to go to Anthro Northwest, personally.
That'd be
Hey.
fun.
Because honestly, I miss Seattle and I want to go. So I'm
I
I'm
wanna go to Seattle, too.
possibly going. Maybe I'm not sure. But EDC I'm definitely going every year. It's just a given.
I feel that.
Yeah.
If I
Like
didn't have
once
a
you've been,
fear-
you can't really stop going. It's kind of like an addiction.
If I didn't have a phobia of flying, I'd be flying all over the place.
True.
Hey, almighty.
Oh,
shit.
thank you, Almighty Ope. Honestly, I should donate since you guys are being so nice answering my questions. You're all amazing. Your work does so much more than you know. Oh, thank you so
Oh my gosh.
much.
God bless.
I mean, like,
Aw.
we have no problem answering questions. We're actually really happy and really excited to release this project to you guys. So, yeah, I mean, it means more to us than it does, you know.
And yes, these two are furries
Yeah,
and also
so-
producers. Yep.
I am I'm Nero or HuskMusic. My Twitter is in the description if you want to go check out my furry's Twitter.
Yep, they're all there.
And then
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Then yeah, my
Um,
name's Tsigili. If you're just coming in,
yeah,
or you can just call me Psy for short because it's kind of a mouthful. So Psy or Tsigili works.
He a
whatever
burb.
floats your boat. Yeah.
So Swift asked, what was the most influencing DJs or other producers factor for you guys to get into the production? I say at least for the DJ aspect, and this is still my main motivation and goal whenever I DJ, is to just make the crowd smile and move, because the crowd's not going to some set to stand there and to kind of just vibe. They're going to vibe, but they're
Unless
going
it's
to
boiling.
like
Different
jump and like have fun and just let loose. So I've always had an influence on people that or I've always just liked the idea of just having like a constant beat going or doing seamless mixing, so people never just sit around and just wait for something like that, because that's not really what the rave is intended for. So I'm thinking of like DJs that do that. I mean like really all DJs do that, but if you ever like watch like Tomorrowland, if you watch any live sets from them like on YouTube, and like those big festivals that you see like Marshmello or someone doing,
Yeah.
like that's really like influential to me, because like just seeing how they like to, you know, control the crowd and make sure everyone's having a good time and that's happy, because I mean you're not going to rock the crowd if there's no crowd to rock.
No.
So you got to always have that in the back of your head as you're doing it, and yeah, kind of just go from there.
Yeah, I feel that. As far as like producers and stuff for me, uh, certainly one of my biggest inspirations for to get into production. Uh, would, the first would be Kanye West.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I fuck. Oh my god, people. You can talk as much shit as you want about Kanye West. I'll admit, dude's really gone off the deep end over the last 2 years or so.
The
It's gotten weird.
Homecoming, though.
Oh my god, yeah. It's just his production is so. It's just so solid. He just makes classics.
Yep.
And then I'd say the second would for sure be Skrillex because, dude, it's just what he did for electronic music. 2012, like that. Scary Monsters, Nice Sprites. It was just like a renaissance for electronic music, in my opinion. It just kind of brought. I feel like the whole vibe of electronic music being bigger than life has always been there, but I feel he really kind of brought it to that next level and kind of made the genre as a whole push into what it is today. So
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
I mean, I
You know-
don't produce, but I would say some of my biggest vocal inspirations, because I don't produce, just putting that out there. I'm going to learn. I'm going to get Ableton. I'm going to learn. It's something on my roadmap for 2020. I probably can't do it right now, but I plan to learn to produce. And vocally, my biggest inspirations are Emma Hewitt, Faith Marie, and Jessie J, because I personally think of their voices, they have probably the most recognizable, classic, strong voices. But in terms of weird, offshoot, funky voices that really pushed me to try weird shit with my voice, Billie Eilish is up there.
hey.
But so is Frou Frou. Frou Frou is one of the first vocalists that I actually put on repeat. So I was like, oh, thank you for the subscription, Pop. Basically, one of the first ones that ever had that, what the hell is that voice? And I'm like, I need to hear more of that. And Evanescence was my first CD purchase when I was a kid. So that's what
Yeah.
made me sound all operatic and big voicey, because the only training I had was high school choir. And at the time, I was a high soprano, so I could hit those notes. And now I'm more mezzo and kind of went a little lower range. So I try to be a little more respectful to my vocal cords. But in high school, oh my god, I'd blow those suckers out every week in choir just to be a jerk. So yeah.
Definitely some people that I think, because I didn't really name names, but people that I really took an interest to, because I started listening to EDM back in probably like 2016, my senior year of high school.
Oh, such a
And,
baby.
I mean, back in that time, I'm saying back in that time.
Back
like,
in the
I'm
day.
Back in
Um,
the day.
Back in the day, 3 years ago.
Hardwell was actually a real big influence on me. I loved Hardwell. I thought his whole image and vibe was so dope. And like you said, old Kanye too, like the 2008 through 2014 Kanye was real good for me. I really like, currently, I like Joyride. I think Joyride has
Yes.
a master's in production and just quality. I mean, like, the dude is so freaking good at what he does. And I'm really happy he got onto OWSLA because he really deserved it. And he was, like, going kind of undercover with that kind of stuff. And now that he's kind of getting mainstream with it with Skrillex, I think that's pretty dope. And then if you're talking more top 40, I've really enjoyed new Calvin Harris.
Huh.
And
Just Calvin
like
Harris
Cal,
in
like
general, dude, holy shit.
yeah, like
Oh.
Calvin Harris's stuff that he did with Migos and Frank Ocean back when he dropped a Slide. I think that was probably the highlight of my last summer was that song.
No, same.
'Cause I'm like, I loved it so much I remixed it a little bit, or I didn't even remix it. I did a remake of it. I loved it so much.
The man
So-
also has the best side eye I've ever seen. Like, there was.
yeah,
He's
I-
a fine son of a bitch. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good looking dude. Yeah.
I think the best clip I ever found, I have to go dig it up, but you know how some vocalists use autotune in live performance, like, really bad? Like, they have well, not T-Pain, because you know he has it, but, like,
It's like
they-
T-Pain, yeah.
they try to get real slick with it, and they put Melodyne on in live performance. And I think it was Justin Bieber's was so bad at one live performance. I think it was like a show that when he was singing, it went like, and like clearly it had like a glitch, and you can just see Calvin Harris going, "What the fuck was that?" And you're just like, the side eye was great because everyone's just like, yeah, he's singing. He's like, I heard that production error and I'm judging you for it. I'm like, yes, Calvin Harris, good.
Nice.
Yes, good.
People that
So
know,
we got another.
know.
We got another question here from Almighty again. If you guys had the chance to perform live, would you like to do a huge stadium show or a dive bar show? Personally, I would love to do either. Dive bars are really cool, and I love the vibe. I typically play. If I did something like that, I'd play some deeper stuff, maybe deep house, maybe liquid drum and bass. It really depends on how many people or what's going. Would I love to do a huge stadium show? Absolutely. I've actually, funny enough, it wasn't a huge stadium show, but it was definitely a mix between kind of like a bar and a show. It was when where I live, Steve Aoki actually came and played, and I was one of the sets before him. So I didn't open for. I kind of opened for Steve Aoki, but not really. This was back in 2015, and I did it with our local radio DJs, and it was a ton of fun. He's a really cool dude. And we had a couple hundred people at that event because they were out playing volleyball and stuff like that. It was real cool, and the vibe of both is actually really cool, and it's something you should really take in. Because the huge stadium show is great because there's so many people you can like rock out with, but then you also have a lot of stuff on your mind and a lot of stuff on your conscience to make sure you don't screw up or something like that. Whereas a dive bar show, people are going in and out of the pool, they're just kind of vibing. So if you mess up here and then, it doesn't really matter that much.
I like dive bars. That's where I started. Before anyone knew that I could sing, including my own family, my jam was singing at local karaoke bars, dive bars, Irish bars. Basically, oh shit, our vocalist is sick. Can you fill in and sing this ballad? Yep. That's where I started, and nobody knew I could sing until Chris Moon and I did a Chasing Cars cover. Fun fact.
Nice.
Not even my own mom. My own mother didn't know I could sing until she showed up at an Irish bar about an hour early while I was covering for a vocalist, and she's just like, wait, you can sing? I'm like, yeah, I've been able to sing this whole time. She's like, oh.
I've been in choir, Mom.
I've been in choir. She goes, hey, I never went to your concerts because I just assumed that you weren't actually singing. And I'm like, no, I was. She's like, yeah, I just thought you played flute. I'm like, no, I sing. I don't play flute anymore because I hated that, but I do actually sing, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, Swiftbane wanted to not know, but he's concerned that you joined the White Claw Revolution.
Oh, I'm just drinking.
Did you?
I'm just drinking seltzer. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm disappointed.
Ain't no laws when you drinking claws, baby.
It's all I had, okay? It's all I had.
So a couple other. Okay, we got a couple other questions here from Icebane asked 2 questions. One is, what inspired you at first to get into the place of production? And the other one is, how long have Nero and Tsigili have been in the fandom? So real quick, what inspired you to get first into production? I love the idea of people coming and just hearing you play, because I play 6 instruments myself. I'm actually not currently with Run Definitely Run, our band that's playing currently at Denver, but I'm the guitarist. I'm one of the guitarists for Run Definitely Run. So I've always loved the idea of playing for people and making them smile and making them just jump and enjoy and have fun, because that's what the event is made for. It's not, social hour to go there and, with a whatever, with a whatever mindset. You got to go there and just make sure everyone's having a good time. So the idea of just making sure that everyone's happy and fun, and that people can enjoy and rock out to something that you made or you like or you want them to rock out to. That's what inspired me. And how long have I been in the fandom? I've been in the fandom actively since probably 2014 or 15. So I've been in the fandom since about 2014, 15. I've been public with it for probably a year and a half.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Production for me, it was funny. I got really good at DJ Hero in high school, and I was like,
Nice.
Hey,
I was
nice.
like, let me try this for real. And then I bought like a shitty like little Newmark controller or whatever, and ripped some songs off the interwebs and gave it a shot. And I'm like, oh fuck, it's kind of hard. But I mean, as far as like music goes, always just, I've always like been into singing since I was like young, because I did choir too and all that stuff, and it was just really fun to sing. But as far as like production goes, I always just felt that I needed like an outlet to kind of get ideas out, because I would always just have like, you know, kind of little ideas, you know, jumping around in my head, but like nowhere to put it, like legitimately. So I copped FL Studios, and you know, just kind of went with that, and yeah. And as far as like being in the furry fandom, I guess just this last year, I guess I've been like in it, but I've always been like looking at it and just kind of like interested about it since like high school. But like, I was always like scared to like tell my friends, because like everyone hated on it, and I was like, yeah, I guess. But I don't know. Lately, I've just been like, fuck it, man. I don't care what people think anymore. I love this shit. So
yeah. Kintu for Rage asked a question. What led you to start doing YouTube?
Funny story that. Actually, the main reason I started on YouTube, so I initially started, like, way back, before I was furry, just to throw up concert vids, and I started as a glover. So I also gloved under the name Ragehound, which is how I know Flo, and most of UV's house, and most of the other gloving houses in, the States. But it didn't really do anything. Nobody really cared much. But I just kind of did it for fun. And then sometime around then, I started doing a privatized series. It was only available on Fur Affinity. I'm pretty sure they're all gone now. But I started doing informational videos on, like, how the Instagram algorithm works, and how Facebook's algorithm works, and how social media works, and all of that. Because that's something, I have 7+ years experience in social media marketing at the corporate level. So, like, I understand how that works. But it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was boring as shit. So I got rid of all of those. And then when I got Cupcake, I was like, you know what? Let's see if anyone listens to me when I'm cute and a dog. So I started making videos as a dog about being a New Yorker, struggles of being a New Yorker. I actually did a singing lesson at one point, gloving lessons. I continued to glove in fursuit and rave outfit here and there. And it was fun, and I was just doing it for shits. And then I lost my job on my birthday and was like, oh, fuck. And at that point, I was actually making decent money on YouTube. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I grow this shit? So I did the weirdest promotion scheme that works on YouTube. And you can verify this with Kiwi and Maggie and anyone else, because they were there when I did it. Is I made myself notorious for being an asshole on other people's streams. So I would donate Screaming Cowboy like 3 times in a row. I would donate dumb music, and I got known for being a prankster on streams, and polka. I would be a little prankster, and people started to remember who I was. And then when I went to stream, people would come to get me back with like whatever nonsense I donated. And it kind of started a little cult following of people that knew me as kind of an asshole. So when I would put out new videos, they'd be excited to see me like go onto someone's stream and be a dick to someone. So until I was able to land my second job that I got laid off from, that was making ends meet. Like, making videos went from being like a fun little hobby to, okay, if I do this many videos with this kind of content, maybe I can like pay my bills this month. And it went from that to, when I did finally get a job, okay, now I can go back to making the stuff I like, and that's kind of where I'm at now, where I can actually make stuff I like. But one of the things I started focusing on is, instead of doing my favorite fursuits, my favorite furry, like, those got boring. I was like, you know what? Let me make educational shit that people will actually take interest in. And that's where the Parents of Furries videos came from, because one of the biggest things I heard is people being terrified to tell their parents or out themselves as furries. And I'm like, I haven't actually told my mom, so what would I tell my mom? So that's how I made it. And even though I put that video out, I still didn't tell my mom until February of this year. But now she knows, and she's cool with it, and she's really supportive. But that's kind of where all that came from. And then someone told me to do Twitch, and now I'm doing that. And this still, sometimes, a little bit. But, you know, that's where that all happened from. Long-winded, but there you go.
That Twitch. Yeah, follow that Twitch, you guys. I don't know.
Yeah, follow that Twitch.
Yeah, I just do games, and I've started doing Twitch sings on there. So if you want to hear more singing, I will be doing a lot of that. I don't always do it in Fursuit Head because it is hot in Fursuit, and I go for like 3 to 4 hours, which I'm not gonna do in this Fursuit Head right now because holy shit, it's hot. But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so you were like a professional troll, more or less. For
I was a professional troll, and Kiwi can attest to that. I
Oh yeah.
horrified that poor man with so much screaming cowboy back when that was a meme that he at one point told me to stop. He's like, please stop.
Oh man.
And I'm like, oh, shouldn't have said that. So I just doubled down.
I was about to say, I'm like, you gotta lean into that. You know, if you want to go away, like goodness gracious.
Yeah, if you ever want to pay an homage to my former career on YouTube, donate streaming cowboy in my honor to literally any YouTuber, and do it under a fake name, and their first assumption will be that I did it. I guarantee you every time. Don't use your real name. Be like, most epic video ever, or what I did to Kiwi is like beautiful, like amazing dubstep you won't believe, and it was polka. And his first assumption is that's got to be Ragehound. And like whenever someone else does it and they're like, oh, that's got to be Ragehound, it just tickles me. Because I'm like, oh, you remember how I started? Yay.
Heck yeah. So another question that we got from Almighty was for me and Sai was what is the biggest risk you guys have either taken musically or in general?
Ooh.
Man, I guess. Man, I don't know. For me, I would probably say, actually, just like wanting to put my voice on music in general, like actually singing on my own tracks and like being proud of it, because I've always like kind of hummed around and done stuff, but it's taken a lot for me to actually kind of like put my voice onto a song and be like, yeah, check it out, I'm proud of this. I guess like over like the last 2 years, I've come a little bit more further with that. So for me, that's probably that, because like making electronic music, man, I don't know how to put this. Sometimes people just want to hear bangers, man, and sometimes I just don't want to make a banger. I just want to make like some chill stuff or whatever. And I guess like having the confidence to put that kind of music out would be the biggest steps that I've kind of taken, and not only like making that music but getting ready to put it out as well. Is
Definitely,
yeah.
yeah.
To that. Yeah.
So for me, I guess it would be if I wanted to put it in like a production and a DJ aspect. For DJing, it would be just getting out in front of people in the first place. Submitting mixes is something that I generally just have, and I still to this day, after doing it for almost going on 6 years, still have a little bit of anxiety for doing, because you're being judged, for a fair point you're being judged, but you're essentially being judged on how you do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get it in, you have to try your best not to take it personally. Yeah. And I'm pretty emotional as it is. That's just how my character is. Like, not my furry character, like me, actually, like me. I'm a pretty emotional person. So sometimes if I'm not like, if something doesn't meet the ear of someone else, like either be if you're laying down a track, you're trying to get into this little like mix thing for like, let's say a con or a show or something, and you don't get picked, it might take a couple of tries before you start to feel like, oh, it's okay. Because at first, it starts to feel like a slam, and it's like, oh, you're not good enough. So, I guess if you're just running an emotional boundary with it, that would probably be the biggest thing musically for me, is just getting over that idea of don't take it personally. They're just going after what they need. And that's the same thing for production. That's like also when I went from doing, because I used to make rap and hip hop instrumentals, because I used to sell them to people that I knew in the area, and I used to sell them stuff like that, and they used to make tracks with it. And when I started making more club style stuff, I actually lost a lot of contacts, and they're like, you know what, dude, if you're gonna start doing that, we don't want your business no more. I was like, okay, well, so it's the process of just filtering out things and making sure that everything's cool there. And that's just like with any general thing, if you're an artist and you got to make something or draw something for this for a commissioner, or let's say for a Lion King movie or something, and your boss is looking over your shoulder and says, oh yeah, that's good, but we don't want it that way. You can't take it personally. You got to just be like, okay, well, how do you want me to do it? Give me some feedback, and then you go from there. And that's essentially the one thing that I really like hearing and what I learned from. So.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm knowing that feeling a lot more and more nowadays. So Kintu asks Rage a question. Another question for Rage, and it's more of asking for your advice. What would you suggest to commission a fursuit from?
I
Or
would
who would you?
first suggest figuring out what style you want because I'm wearing toonie right now. Most of my suits are a mix of toonie and realistic. I'd say the two I wear the most are toonie because they are light and breathable. That's definitely a plus. But once you figure that out, it really just depends on like what your character's vibe is. A lot of people will say made for you, made for less, multicolor bark. No,
Fursuit's by Lacey.
no. Don't go for a maker. Go for like an aesthetic. Like if your character is cutesy but kind of anime inspired, maybe Starry Kitsune's the right fit for you. If it's cutesy but more traditional tune, maybe made for more for less is more for you. If you're going for like extremely detailed, realistic, so real that you could swear you're talking to a dog in the mirror, Kandarin Creations is by far the one of the best realistic makers that exists, and she is extremely responsive. Or if you don't mind the import cost, Tapapat Creations made Flitwick, and it's probably been the most painless commission process I have ever had.
I love that maker.
They do amazing suits,
Who's
and they're Tapapat. They made this ding dong right here. If you see her, they made this girl.
Oh, wait, it's lagging. Let me see it. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And actually,
I wore her at AC and it was fantastic.
Nero got to wear her, and she's a little heavier than Cupcake, but oh my god, the vented ear holes
it's a good
are...
weight though. It's a solid weight.
Yeah. I mean, Cupcake is very, very light, like so light that I could pack her for EDC and like almost forgot she was with me light. But it just depends on what look you want. Like the maker for Cupcake knew that I'm an anime nerd, so they gave me anime eyes. The person who made Flitwick knew exactly the aesthetic I was looking for. If you want to get a big maker, go for it. Like nothing's gonna stop you. No one's gonna stop you. But if you're getting a maker that's big just to get a maker that's big, I think you're doing it wrong. You should really be going because that maker fits what you want to happen, not because you want to join the club of like the 9 million multicolored bark suits out there or the 9 million made for you suits. Pick made for you because made for you fits your character, not because you just want a collector's item. That's the best way to go about it.
And you don't want to follow the clout.
Yeah.
You always got to stay true to yourself and make sure, because you never know. If you go to someone that's relatively new and the suit's really cute, you might get a following just like that. But rather than if you go and you follow, 20 people's clout, you might get something, but is it really worth it? Is it worth that vibe that you want,
Yeah,
If you want
and
something that's
also,
true, or...
big maker doesn't equal quality. So if you're just like, I want them because they're high quality, do a little bit of research because you could actually save a few bucks by going to a small maker that makes amazing suits and doesn't really charge that much. Tapapat, you might think that suit is really expensive compared to a lot of American makers. It's actually not. For what I paid for, it's not.
Also, I think Icebane would asked, how do you spell that? How do you spell that maker's name?
I can type it, assuming I know where the keys are. I think it's that. Oh, no. Pat. There. Yes, that. That's how you spell it. You can find them on Twitter just by looking up Tapapat. They're the only one. Yes. What happens if you want a digigrade suit? You have trouble walking, but you look real cute.
Yeah. You just essentially just have basically pillows in your thighs, and you kind of gotta like
Waddle.
gallopy waddle kind of thing.
I know you saw me waddling all through Anthrocon. That was beautiful.
Yeah, especially when it started raining.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna say this question, and I'm gonna say one more after that. So Almighty has to go, but they have one more question. What is one thing you wish you could change in either the music industry or the furry fandom? In the music industry, to be honest with you, I'm not in the music industry yet. I plan to get into the music industry probably the next 3 to 4 years. As far as that goes, I guess I would just like if, and this is just talking from an outside point of view, looking in at it, I would say maybe if things weren't as closed off as they are, maybe if they could, expand horizons and be like, oh yeah, that one guy out there in that one place, maybe try him, rather than like, oh yeah, we're sticking close to what we got. Yeah. And that kind of leaks into the furry fandom a little bit. The furry fandom's great. However, it does have some flaws, especially, I think, there's a lot of things in the fandom that are very secluded, some things that are very, like, introverted, things that people like to keep in, which is fine. But things that need to involve people, or things that involve multiple people, like communication. I think communication kind of lacks in the fandom a little bit, and especially with the fandom kind of being mostly social media based. Instead of going for cons like AC or MFF or BLFC or something like that, that are big enough to where that's not an issue. But let's say there's a downtime in between cons, and that's, shit hits the fan for whatever reason right now, whoever the hell's going on Twitter, the fandom isn't necessarily entirely about that. And a lot of new furs, younger furs, people that have been in the fandom that are weary about it, and they see that going on Twitter, doesn't exactly put a good taste in their mouth. So the idea of just kind of just quieting that down a little bit and just kind of calming down, I think, is what's needed to kind of keep things going well. But if I could change one thing about that fandom, it would be that.
How about you, Tsigili?
Man, I would say again, I feel the same way about the music industry as well, in the sense of like I'm not necessarily in it, but just from like what I see, sometimes I'd like to see more kind of acceptance from fan bases, and I'll use the example of Getter. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yes,
Yeah.
get
Or
her.
like Rage and Nero know, but
Yep.
he's basically like he kind of got big from doing like a lot of dubstep and like kind of rhythm, back in like 2014, 2015, 2013 even, and that was kind of like what he became known for. And just this last year, he released an album called Visceral, and it was completely left of what his style really is, but it was still genuinely him. And his fan base kind of like really tore him down for it, and I thought that was so I thought it was like generally like just kind of fucked, man. It was wild because people were going to like his live show, like the Visceral live tour, and he would be playing his album that he just made, and people at certain shows would even like started booing him and everything like that, and they're like, play dubstep, this, that, and the other. And I think it's like you come to expect something from like a certain person that you follow, but in the same sense, I think it'd be really great for people in general to be able to be more open to directions that an artist wants to go. I
Yeah.
think of course the artist should definitely play to the base to a degree, but I think that the fan base in the same sense should be able to be just as flexible and willing to kind of take in whatever they're kind of putting out.
Yeah. I mean,
I think just acceptance in general for like the music industry on that part.
as someone who's technically in the music industry right now with my current job and also in the furry fandom, one of the things in the furry fandom I would love, 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 love to change is get more education out there and get more general intelligent discourse. And that's not to call anyone dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed or slash noticed, continue to notice, is that a lot of furries lack debate skills. And it's okay to disagree on stuff. And it's okay to disagree like passionately on stuff. But not every disagreement has to be a shouting match. And that's kind of what's happened a lot is it's okay to not have the same opinions as other people, but having the ability to convey them in an intelligent way should be something that we're working more actively on doing, because if two people have a shit fit on Twitter, you can just block the other person, and while that might make you feel better, you've completely missed out on the opportunity to maybe learn something from the other person or teach the other person something. I mean, one of the first videos I did, oh, thank you, Secret, for the follow. One of the first things I did when I made my videos is I actually did a video on furry raiders. I know, terrifying. And a furry raider at the time actually wanted to talk to me and discuss like some of the reasons why he didn't think that they were a problem civilly with me over an interview. That one's still up to this day. And at the end of it, we all kind of learned something from each other, and he's no longer in the furry raiders. So having intelligent discussions can lead to really, really great positive outcomes. And you don't always have to block somebody just because you disagree with them. And in the music industry, what I would love to change is a lot of what I noticed in certain selections made for vocalists, especially, is people going for the popular option and not always a different option. Kind of like how furries love to go for the big maker, but they might have left a little maker on the sidelines that makes really cool stuff and could have brought their character to life in a really new and interesting way, just because they want the big clout-infused one. And I've noticed that with vocals, not just in furry musicians or furry bands and that, but it happens a lot. Like, some of the decisions made for big tracks are a case of, will this track sell? And it's become less of, you know, does this vocal fit? Will it make a really beautiful, interesting outcome? And more of, what's most marketable? A big example of this is I tried out for America's Got Talent. Would I have made it on? Probably not. But they had the tequila guy. And I get it. Like, on competition shows like that, you're going for the entertaining vote. You're going for the what's going to make people laugh and cause drama and have emotional shit. But it kind of saddens me because they could have given the opportunity to an amazingly talented vocalist in his place. And instead, they put on Tequila Guy, and somebody that could have taken that stage and really done something amazing with it and furthered their career was left out to dry, and that sucks.
No, 100%. I think, yeah, like, that kind of pertains to just, like, in general, like, the furry fandom and, like, music as a whole. Just, like, giving people a chance, I think, is really important, because there are so many, like, crazy talented people, you know, in music and, like, in the fandom as a whole, where it's, like, no one, like, pays attention because it's, like, they don't have, like, the follower account or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you actually just like go listen to their stuff, it's like, or just check out like what kind of content they're putting out, regardless of how many followers they have, like, you'd be surprised. Like, I do it like all the time. Like, I'll just kind of like go into like comment sections or whatever. I'll just like, you know, I'll just like see who's like constantly engaged, and like just names I see all the time. I'm like, I wonder what this person's about. And just like doing that every so often, like, you can find like fantastic stuff. And it's just crazy to me sometimes, where it's just like, if you don't have this many people checking you out or whatever, it's like you're worthless. And it's like, it's just not the case at all. And yeah, changing that over time would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and honestly, I would love to see like the big heavy hitters who get to play cons, who get those like constant spots on stage, bring in smaller people. Like, RDR bringing Ace of Hearts Fox to Anthrocon was awesome, because I'll be honest, I had never heard any of Ace's music. I didn't even know he made music, and to be able to get to hear him was a great opportunity. That was awesome. It should happen more. It should happen more that we have new and interesting acts, not the same one over and over. The same one over and over is fine, and it's great. But yo, like, have that big DJ do a back-to-back with a Discovery set DJ. Do Discovery stages. They do this at festivals.
Yep.
It would be freaking cool if you saw Rekka B2B with some new guy who got on solely on his merits and nobody's ever heard of before. That would be dope.
Thank you. Retweet.
Yeah, EDC does that great with the Discovery stage, like you were saying. Like,
yeah, my friend made it on this year. If you were at EDC at Corona Electric Beach and you saw Past the 40, that's one of my best friends.
Oh, word.
Yeah. Finally made it.
Goddamn.
Yeah, but no, that topic you just touched on with, you know, people doing that with DJ stuff, I've been trying to do that, you know, back to back, you know, get some just new talent up on there. You know, we like to use old talent like normal people, because, you know, they can't talk right now. They bring in a good, you know, image, and people want to go see them, and they're notorious for dropping dope sets. But after a while, I personally think that you know, sometimes it's good to kind of change it up a little bit. And yeah, you might see a slight decline in people that would come in, but the point of it's to get people new on stage. And, you know, when it's like, you know, I'm not calling anyone out, I definitely don't want to have any issues with anything, but the thing that I've noticed is when, you know, someone says, oh yeah, we've got so many new faces on the stage right now, maybe a quarter of the stage is new, maybe half of the stage is new, the other half or the other 3/4 are reoccurring people, and that's great. You know, the sets are gonna bang, but people that are trying to get on, when they see that the same slot's being taken every year by the same person, it isn't ideally good for their ideas of getting on stage. You know, they're gonna probably either say, oh no, forget it, I'm not gonna do it anymore if that's the case, or they're gonna get upset, or, you know, something. You know, I agree. That's why I'm kind of going off on a tangent with it, because I personally kind of had not a gripe with it, but I've definitely kind of understood like why people get a little upset by that, and people don't like to really necessarily talk about it. So that's kind of why I
Yeah.
like to bring it up.
No, I totally agree. It's it's about what sells, and it from a marketing standpoint, like it makes sense. It's like, uh, you want to get like the best turnout that you can, and you should definitely do that. But at the same time, I think there should be like a crossroads, where it's like, all right, how can like we've been doing this now? How can we like keep it interesting and fresh? Because I mean, like if you keep doing like the same old song and dance, like over time, I feel like it's not going to be as interesting or engaging. It's just going to be like,
Exactly.
oh, cool, there's that again.
Yeah, no, and that's, I mean, when I went to AC and I was hanging out with some people that I'm close friends with, and I mean, they would be like, okay, yeah, let's go check it out, and it was might have been something like that, and it just wasn't really going on because people were already like, oh yeah, we've heard this song before, and a couple years ago, or oh yeah, we've heard that before, or like, oh yeah, there's that down break that's 40 seconds long. We're just gonna stand. Okay, we're gonna leave. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
necessarily what the rave is for. The rave is to have a continuous beat either pumping somewhere somehow, and just making sure people are just having a good time and stuff like that. I mean, I could go off on this for hours, but
I mean, that also kind of leads me into a bit of a point that if you guys would like to support some of those smaller artists, if you'd like to hear different people, that's one of the things I do on Twitch. I actually exclusively feature music by friends. Tsigili's been on there 2 or 3 times, I think. Nero's been on there. And one of the big things I'll be doing leading up to MFF is I'll actually be doing a series called Road to MFF. If you have tried out for MFF auditions in any genre, I will exclusively play your music with the hashtag Road to MFF and promote the actual set that you are trying out with. I want people to hear you, even if you don't make it on stage. Similar to the Road to EDC, I'm going to do the Road to MFF. I want people to discover these people, listen to them, and love them just as much as everyone else I've had on there. Like I always promote local New Yorkers as well. So like I've had Night Punk, I've had Black Sheep, I've had Revlo, I've had like a bunch of different people. And part of the reason I do that is instead of playing the NCS playlist for the 90th freaking time, I'd rather people ask, who is that? Who made this? Like, where do I find this music? This is cool and interesting. I want to hear more. And if I can get at least 2 people to go follow like a smaller SoundCloud they've never heard of, that's a win. Even if I don't get any donations and have 10 viewers all night, that is a bigger win to me than hitting partner and getting like 500 subscribers or something ridiculous. I would rather
yep.
the people who helped me make friends, which were primarily DJs and producers when I got to New York, succeed than just money grab on Twitch. That's my big play there. So if you guys would like to, I'm actually maybe kind of sort of using Nero's MFF set for this weekend. So you're welcome.
My God.
Whoops, sorry, I didn't tell you up front. My bad.
Ooh, hit me in the feels.
Whoops.
Thank you. I'll have to definitely tune in and check that out.
Yep. So that's the thing I do. If you are also a Twitch streamer, because copyright's a little more lenient there, and you would like to support your local DJ, your friend who DJs, anyone in the community who DJs, one thing I highly suggest is when you go to stream, instead of playing the NCS freaking playlist for the 90th goddamn time, instead go ask for their SoundCloud and bump your friends' tunes and set a timer on your CloudBot to link to their SoundCloud or whatever they use. It's an easy and really not that difficult way to support the local music you love without being too much of a butt and tweeting it like 70 million times. Works pretty well. I would suggest it.
Swift mentioned Team Underdog. Here's the thing: if I get the MFF gig, I'm wearing my Team Underdog shirt on stage.
Yes, and if you don't know what Team Underdog is, it's a stream team that Drac, Kira, Spooky, and I have all founded. It's all small streamers primarily, although now we have Kiwi and Majira, so that is kind of a lie. But it's mostly small streamers supporting one another, and we participate in a little bit more of a hands-on approach to support. We strategically raid small channels only. It is standard to raid a channel smaller than your own, get people to watch new channels, support new channels, and one of the big tenets that I'm trying to push, although it's going interestingly, is to get anyone who's also streaming to support the musicians who are part of the team. If you're streaming and you don't know what to play, we have a Google Sheet with every DJ that is a member of the team and some smaller DJs who are friends of the team that you can click on at any time. They have already given full signed approval. Nero is one of those people. I think Tsigili's on the sheet as well. I don't remember if I put you on there.
No, this is dead ass my first time hearing about this.
Surprise!
Yeah, this sounds amazing. My goodness.
Yeah, so basically what we do is if you don't really know what to play, I mean, you can play your own music if you want, like that's cool. But if you don't know what to play, just go to our Google Sheet, grab a SoundCloud. I've actually made handmade playlists of people who don't have like an organized SoundCloud, and you can just hit go, loop it, and don't touch it, and don't worry about it. And you're already supporting, and all you had to hit was play. That's it. Very easy.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Heck yeah.
Yep. The
Yeah,
best is when
definitely.
you're streaming and you see your friend in Australia playing your friend's music on their stream, and someone's like, "Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, Link." And you're like, "Yes, I did
That
it!
happened to me. Yeah.
I did it!"
It's a business.
Yeah.
But no, I feel that like community building is so. It's just awesome. There's something really cool about it. It's just really cool to see like a bunch of people like kind of come together over like a centralized thing, rather it be about music or gaming or streaming or anything really.
Okay,
just, like,
Swift.
kinda
I'll add him to the list. Sorry, he called me out. He's like, he's not on the list yet. Sorry, I'll add him. I promise. I'm so sorry. Such a bad team captain. I'll add. I promise.
I want to see this list. Where is this? I need the.
It's in. I can send it to you after stream. It's in our Discord somewhere. It exists somewhere in the ether, I'm sure. I made it a while ago. I need to update it. Oopsie daisy.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't see any more.
Just Cyberlord, not a question, but he was just throwing congratulations at you, Nero, for your collaboration with Verplex.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Actually, speaking of that, I haven't yet. Actually, I'll probably go either tonight or tomorrow. There was a VIP remix that I made of our track Infinity that I teamed up with one of my friends named TGK. Sorry, TGK. We did a VIP remix of Infinity, which I'll be releasing probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay.
So that'll be kind of
Nice.
cool.
Speaking of other great ways to support your favorite musician, if you are on a stream and you are going to donate anyway, and they have media share enabled, might I sneakily suggest putting your friend's song in instead of a gnome meme? It is a very easy way to get it in front of a lot of people really quick on the sly, and then it asks questions of, oh, what's that song? And 9 times out of 10, that streamer will put it in the chat. So if you want to support your musician and you want to do it on the sneak and you got money to blow anyway, might I suggest doing that? Very easy, low barrier to entry.
900.
Firsthand, let me tell you, your friend that will make that music is very much appreciated.
Yeah, and it's not that hard.
Or appreciated.
If you were gonna send them a or in my case, if you're gonna send them polka anyway, just make one of those donations your friend's song, and boom, there you go. You got it. You got their song in front of potentially like 40 people that now want to know more about that song. It helps. Also, if any of your favorite artists or friends who are artists are on Spotify or anything else, streaming actually does make them money. The track I made with Tsigili will be on Spotify soon. Every time you listen to it, I have chosen to split revenue with Tsigili, so I'll get some, he'll get some, and the same will be true when Nero's remix goes up. So if you want to support,
How can I put that up?
I do that because I have a distributor. You don't.
Then yeah, put it up.
Yeah, I have a distributor. You don't. Nah, nah. Yeah.
I was reading something. Someone said, "I'm a DJ, but I'm 14 and can't go to clubs yet, so I'm sad." I'll say one thing. I don't think that's entirely true. I think a good way to kind of break into like the scene, even if you're young, from what I've noticed anyway, a really good example of this would be a producer called More Kismet.
Ooh.
He's 14 and he makes amazing music. Like it's like I'm flabbergasted at like the production level that he has, especially being like 14, and he's like going on tour right now. Like he just put out an EP. signed to Never Say Die Records.
Yes, NSD, NSD,
Yeah.
NSD. I love them.
Yeah, so like I guess,
NSD's
like,
dope.
yeah, they got crazy shit, and they just signed him, and he's like 14. So I would say like the if you're trying to like get into that scene, I think a really good way to get into it would be like production. That would be like a really solid thing to do. Production really helps you stand out from other DJs that don't produce, is what I've noticed, because it's like mixes are really cool. I like listening to a good mix, but if you're making music, like if you're putting out like your own originals, like that just kind of puts you like a grade above someone that's just DJing, because just about anyone can learn how to DJ. It's like one of those things where it's like it's easy to learn but hard to master kind of thing. So it's like a lot of people can do it, but not everyone can do production.
Yeah. Or if you want to practice mixing, just make mixes, post mixes.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they're not good, the best thing you can do is post mixes and ask for feedback. That is probably the best thing I can suggest. Even if you can't go to a club, you know what doesn't require you to be a certain age to spin your mixes live? Anywhere on social media. Spin live. Spin live if you have the means. Spin live on Mixer, Twitch, anything. I mean, preferably not YouTube. You'll probably get copyrighted up the bum. But spin live on any of those channels and ask for feedback. Or if there's one sneaky way you can do it, if there's a certain DJ that does promo streams and would love to listen to your songs, submit your songs for feedback, because you can learn really, really well how to fix maybe EQing issues you might have, or if you're not really great with like what drums to choose, or you're not really sure which plugins you should be applying or what serums you really need, just submit that shit to a promo stream if they exist. I know of one. Black Sheep sometimes does it. But submit your shit. Like, just put yourself out there. If you can't get into a club, you don't need a club. Anything can be a stage, especially social media. It's a great way to get around it.
Yeah. I will say one thing about that, though. If you do DJ on a stream, try to make it like direct in, because personally it's like if I see someone's DJing and it's just like them playing out speakers like going into like their phone or something, I'm like, I'm sorry, I really don't want to listen to this.
Yeah, if you can get direct audio, that is highly recommended. If you don't know how, Google it.
Yeah, Google's awesome for that. You can learn a lot of things. Yeah, it's like I totally agree with that, though. Social media is key for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the most one of the underutilized stages in the world is social media. I don't know if you guys know Jana at all. Like, she's a female DJ that mixes a lot on YouTube.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
and oh my god.
And she uses YouTube as a stage with a lot of her own original music, so she doesn't get copyrighted because she owns it. And it's a great way to engage a lot of people. And it's really great because you can get real-time feedback. If someone's like, oof, I don't know about that transition, in your mind you can be like, okay, that was sloppy, maybe fix that. And you can just go with it. Like, heck, my vocals were garbage for years. Garbage. And singing in front of a bunch of drunks, I'll tell you what, drunks don't hold anything back. So singing in front of drunk people, someone's like, you're really flat. I'm like, got it. Like, that helps. But now that social media is a thing, you don't have to go to a crappy dive bar. You can just do it on Twitch.
Yeah, you can get drunk in the comfort of your own home. And
exactly. Which is what I do. This is totally just water. Yup.
You might as well call it water.
I mean, it is sparkling water. I'm not lying. It is sparkling water.
Wow. That grapefruit, though.
I mean, it's all they had. Yeah. You have your own DJ machines. Oh, that's cool. Well, Zach, get mixing. Put your stuff on Mixcloud if you're too scared to do it live. Heck it. Put it everywhere. Ask for feedback.
Yeah, man. Zach, what do you call it? DM me on like Twitter or something. Like, if you ever need like feedback, like I'll definitely give it to you. Like, I'd love hearing like new mixes or whatever. Like, anytime someone like sends me a mix, I'm like, all right, cool. Now I can properly like clean my house and like, or go out for a walk. Like it gives me an excuse to actually do stuff in my own life because it's like with mixes because it's like they're like an hour long, so I don't want to like just sit at my desk for an hour just like zoned in completely. It's like I want to like incorporate it to my own life, and if I feel like I can go about my day and just have the mix going, dope ass mix. But nonetheless, DM me on Twitter, and I'll definitely take a listen to whatever you got cooking up.
And all Twitters
Yeah,
are down in the
same for
description
me.
if you want to find it.
Yep, I will be more than happy to help as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I don't know how to master my own vocals worth a shit. But getting feedback from Nero constantly on how bad my vocals are is really helpful.
No.
I'm kidding. Although I shouldn't be, because they're usually pretty bad.
They're not bad. They just need slightly tweaked in terms of EQ stuff. But you're fine.
It
You've
could
been
use
fine.
work. It could use work. Blah.
And Verno Wolf says, "Ooh, what's this?"
This is discussing the new songs, the original and the remix. Both are linked down below. If you haven't heard them yet, what are you doing? Go do that. And then come back and then ask questions about it. Like if you want to know why one decision was made, like why is that there? Why was this drum like that? Why were the vocals changed like this? Why are the vocals like that? What does this lyric mean? Literally ask any of those questions and we're happy to answer them.
Yeah.
And I promise none of them are meme remixes. These are real ones, not meme ones. This isn't the channel for memes. There is another channel for that, but I'm not gonna name it. Oh, well, I wasn't gonna name it, but okay. Just name your damn bandmate, why don't you?
He won't be that mad at me.
Speaking of,
why is the sky blue? Because it reflects off the ocean.
Have they started streaming yet? Good lord.
No, they were supposed to about
15 minutes
Kiwi
ago.
Kiwi put up a thing at 8:02 and it's 8:15. So hopefully they pressed play.
I don't think they did. Oh no.
On
Oh no. Yeah, they put the thing up, but they're still waiting for Kiwi.
So my guess is
Yikes.
that Kiwi forgot to press play on the
Or
RDR
they got delayed. By the way, for anyone in stream, what we're going to do is when the green screen fox remembers to push play, we will be rating the RDR live set. However, it doesn't appear that he did, so we might be waiting a little bit. I'm not sure. But when he goes
he
live,
has his old PO box in the thing still.
I mean, of course he does. I mean, look at whose channel you're looking at. Not professional. Anyways.
Wow.
I mean, I'm allowed to say that we're
Slander.
friends.
Well, he's our bassist, so yeah, I get to mess with him. He's also basically my neighbor. It's really funny. Yeah,
Lucky.
we're only 15, 20 minutes from each other.
Girl, I wish I was closer.
Okay, that's cool.
Come visit us.
I'm
pink dog.
saving up money for that. If anyone wants to help with that mission, you can. But I'm saving up money for that.
Yeah, guys, help Rage come and visit me, Maggie, and Kiwi, and help her get a plane ticket to come visit us in Ohio. And yeah,
New donation
please,
goal.
we want to see.
I was gonna
Doug
set it
Roll.
and I just didn't. Oopsie daisy. Whoops.
I might message Skyla.
Yeah,
Yeah, be like,
guys?
yo.
Where's this set? Run, definitely run. You're not definitely
Run,
nodding
definitely
right
run
now.
your live. It's like definitely run your live stream.
What are you doing? Fix. Do the thing. Read.
Oh yeah, Rage. Cyberlord says, what do you recommend to do to grow as a small YouTube music channel?
Network. That is probably the best thing. But before you do that, invest in a decent camera. If you have an iPhone that is relatively new, you can use that and it works just fine. If you have iMovie and you're just starting out, that is just fine. Get a feeling for like what content you like to do. Get an idea for what topics you enjoy talking about. Put a few out as a tester, but don't invest in anything overly expensive until you've determined that like this is the thing you want to do. Because what I'd hate to see is people go and buy like Premiere, or not Premiere, what is it, Premiere? No. Yes. Don't buy Premiere Pro and After Effects and, well, I guess DaVinci's free, so you can get that. But like, don't go out there buying like Rolls Royce of video editing software and then realize you hate it like a week later. Actually, spend like a good month on crappy free software. Do the best you can to get clean audio and clean video. Although that's very interesting for me to say because my audio is still shit. But like, at least try to get the basics good, like your video and your audio. And then if you find that that's the thing you want to do and you're willing to put the investment in for something nice, then do it. But for the love of God, don't buy like every major software that exists. Unless you're a student and it's cheap, then go for it. And then find out you hate it a week later because now you're stuck with this premium editing software and nothing to do with it. And that sucks. So don't do that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Be smart with your money. It won't last very long.
Or just buy a fursuit.
I mean, to be fair, you do not need a fursuit to make good YouTube content.
Oh, yeah, no,
you don't.
Anyone that's young here that has the idea that you need a fursuit to be someone in the fandom, that's very not true.
No, look at Blue the Dragon and Beta. Beta Ada Deluda did not have a suit for a really long time, and he's done better than I have. You do not need a suit. That is not part of it. Scripting good content, yes, you do need that. And I would definitely suggest if you have any trouble speaking into the camera or like publicly speaking, practice that shit before you go live or before you make any video content, because having the ability to be very concise and clear and have good diction and good timing in your sentences does pay off where fancy editing tricks are not going to save you. You can have the most beautiful After Effects suite on the planet, but if you can't put out a solid sentence with any kind of confidence, good luck. It's not going to work. It really won't.
Yeah. And to that, like, I don't really do YouTube, but I mean, like, I'm a consumer of the content, and it's like I know what I like, and I see a lot of people that like want to do stuff like with like YouTube and everything like that, and like a lot of people have like, you know, they're really introverted, or it's like they have issues like speaking publicly, like if that isn't an issue that you have, but like you still want to do the content, like I'd imagine just like practice it, you know, to like do like 100 practice runs of just like a certain bit that you might have or something like that, and just kind of like keep doing it until like it, you know, it looks great on video, and then just kind of, you know, Frankenstein together a video and just kind of go from there, I guess. Seems like a good route anyway.
I mean, heck, if you look some of my oldest videos, like it's animated pictures. It's bad. But the only thing that saves me is clear diction and being able to hold a sentence. There's a lot of ums and ahs, I'm not going to lie. I didn't learn how to cut those out until later. But as long as you can put forward a concise and interesting point and structure it really well, you should be okay. That's why I say being able to debate is a good thing. Having the ability to put forth a thought-out argument with evidence is great. If you wanted to make, like, why I don't like circles as a video, start with, here is the reason why I do not like them. Follow with, here is some evidence to support my claim. Here are some differences of opinion that might make my claim invalid. Here is how I respond to them. Closing argument. You can do that for anything, and your videos will be 20 times better than if you just ramble on for like 50 minutes and have no point. Because then you have to do a lot of editing, and that just sucks. Save yourself editing time by scripting. Seriously, I didn't do it for a while. That was stupid. Don't do that.
Makes sense.
So, Kaylin has informed us that in about 9 to 10 minutes, RDR will be going live.
Yeah! Then in 9 to 10 minutes, we're raiding their booties, and I get to take this fursuit hat off because holy shit, it's hot. Oh my god, it's so hot.
Yeah, I still have to shower because I'm still like feeling gross from work.
Yuck.
I just gave myself a good old face wash, called it good.
I mean, I'm probably gonna take a horse shower later.
I'm
Which is baby
definitely
wipes.
showering, and then getting Taco Bell.
What? Oh my god, I want Taco Bell so bad.
There's a Taco Bell, Rage, when you visit, there's a Taco Bell not even a half mile down the road from me.
Yo, have you guys ever been to the Taco Bell in Vegas?
Yes. Oh my
Nah,
god, that
I've
shit
never
is
been to
so
Vegas.
weird.
Dude, it is literally insane. It's like just people twerking in line, drinking, vodka and cranberries.
Vegas is an experience that everyone should have at least once.
Is everyone eating Taco Bell today? Says Swift.
Yes.
Is everyone eating Taco Bell? Cause God, I woke up and I'm like, damn, it's 11 a.m. and I still want Taco Bell.
One of those days, man.
And Luke, I don't hate circles. I was just giving an example. I'm just pointing it out.
Calcifer Plays says, new song? Question mark?
Look in the description. You might be surprised.
Yeah, check the description.
Yep. In case you missed the premieres, the links are below. We thought of everything. You can click them. You can listen to them. You can ask any questions you might have. Because the two producers that worked on both of them are right here, right now, in real time. Yes. Hey.
Music is wiggly air.
Music is wiggly air, basically.
Like
Reaper Ranch fries. I would need to get those.
Yeah.
Like Swiftbane ate it twice today.
Yo.
What is y'all's like go-to Taco Bell orders? Like
Ooh.
Beefy Frito burrito. Ew.
Ew.
What? It's so good.
It's mad decent. Not gonna lie.
2 soft tacos and a Baja Blast. Bite me.
I get the Beefy Frito burrito, a cheesy roll-up, a loco taco, and maybe a nacho fry. And then if I want to get a drink, you get a Baja Blast. It's only like $4 for all that. That's why it's a deal,
Yeah,
That's how we do
just
it.
not the Mexican pizza. That shit's gross.
No, that's
It's not
gross.
good.
Yeah, no.
I used to be on that wave for a really long time.
When I was a kid, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like,
I
the
didn't
only
have
reason I
Taco
got
Bell
it
when I
is
was a
they said pizza, and I'm like, okay, bet.
Pizza, yeah.
They're like, oh, it's pizza? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I go for like the crunch wrap for sure. I'll probably just get like one of those and then
The crunch wraps are good, yeah.
burrito.
Crunchwrap Supreme, 2 loco taco, and a large drink, $6.50. That's insane.
Yikes. I
It's
mean,
literally so much. It's so much food, and it's so cheap. It's so good. Ugh.
yeah. I mean,
Noodles and
granted,
Company
my
is-
New York prices are pretty bad right now, so I don't think I think I might pay a little more than you do for Taco Bell,
Yeah.
but that's
It's
okay.
like it's only
Ice-
$26 for 2 soft tacos. and a large drink.
I mean, it's 10, but yeah.
Icebane said Noodles and Company is good. Noodles and Company is so good.
Never heard of that.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
It's like
but
it's not gourmet, but it's like
yeah, but K-Town's right there, so I could just get real ones. So yeah. Screw Ohio, visit me. I've got better food options.
You missed it, Nero, but Rage saw the Swift trash can in full effect at AC.
Yep, I did. I finished my
what is that?
margarita and there was a little bit of liquid left, so he just grabbed my cup and chugged it. I was like, okay, never mind.
Nice.
I was trying to be classy.
So Kintu asked, to all three of you, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza? I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I've always liked it.
As,
Yeah.
as long as it's not that disgusting nonsense from Chicago. That's just cheese lasagna. That's not
Yeah.
pizza. That's garbage.
It's not pizza.
See-
Yeah, I was about to say like Chicago
not
pizza
pizza.
is just like Italian pie. I don't.
It's just Italian meat pie. And anyone who says
Yeah.
different is wrong.
Yeah, I didn't get when I went to MFF last year. I didn't get the pizza. I don't know if I will. I'd rather have Chicago style pizza, or Chicago. I'd rather have New York style
Wow! Get out!
pizza. I butchered that.
I mean, if you have to eat pizza with a knife and fork, it's not pizza. It's shit.
Yeah.
That's my feelings, and you can fight me on that.
Can't walk around drunk eating a fucking pie. It's impossible. You gotta sit
Although, if you are gonna get drunk and eat something with a fork, New York City halal food is the way to go.
down. Always heard that.
It's so dank. You can get it at all hours. It's really stupid cheap, and the guy can always tell how drunk you are, and it's just like, yeah, you need some hot sauce in this, or yeah, if I give you this, you're gonna throw it up right at me. So I'm just not gonna put hot sauce on this, even though you asked. Screw you. Have white sauce.
Love that.
They're good
2-star
people.
restaurant, 5-star customers.
Yep. It's bad enough that the cart outside knows me by first legal name. I'm just like, oh god.
Nice.
Oops. That's how you know you eat too much.
You get that rapport, you might get a deal or two. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, he gives me a free soda every now and then. He's just like, "You look like shit. Have a free Coke." I'm like, "Okay, thanks, appreciate it. Thank you so much."
What a way to start the day.
The best way to start the day.
Yeah. Rez Dutch Angel Dragon says, try eating at a truck stop 2 tacos for $10.
Wow.
Ooh.
Truck stops?
I did that for MFF because I took a bus to MFF because I hate flying with a passion, even though I probably have to break that for this coming MFF. But yeah, no, we went on the mega bus and we stopped at truck stops and we had like Sbarro truck stop pizza and Burger King truck stop. And yeah, that was an experience.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Goodness, do these boys know how to set up a stream? Holy Christ.
Well, they said like it should be any second because
Oh,
they
yeah,
literally
okay.
said like 10. They said like 10 minutes ago it's gonna happen. At least Kalen did. They said they're still setting up. Knowing being 30 minutes late, that's
Sure.
normal.
Sure. Uh-huh. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
But that's where we are all headed after this stream, boys and girls, to go watch Squirrel and Associated Degenerates play music. I mean, band. Sorry.
Hi, I'm one of those associated degenerates.
Yep, basically.
Thanks.
You're
Even though I'm
welcome.
not there right now. Sad face. It
I
was so
mean,
sad
yeah.
because I was at work today and work today was so stupid because the reason why I didn't go was for work and kind of for flying. But
Mostly for flying.
yeah, shut up.
Nah.
But I saw like a bunch because my work is right next to like one of our little airports, and I'm just seeing all of these like planes that I would take to like Denver. I see all the planes that I would be getting on. I'm just like, dang it.
I feel that.
Dude, just, listen. I have a friend that's like really terrified of flying as well, and he found the best way to do it is eat a couple, weed brownies, drink some NyQuil, and just be dead ass asleep by the time you take off, and you're good. You wake up, you're surrounded by a bunch of fluffy animals, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna drink something or take something. I don't know. I'm gonna do something if I go to MFF. Even though from where I am to MFF is only 40 minutes on a plane. I mean, still climbing through 20,000 feet when I can't see in front of me. It's like
bad. Oh my god. Literally, just get a dumb cell phone game and just focus on beating it for the whole flight. You'll be fine. Or do what I do. Have a Bloody Mary when you take off, and you're fine.
Yeah,
you remember nothing. You just go right to sleep.
Yeah, basically. Or just like bust out the laptop, dude. Make some beats, man.
I might do that too.
Yeah.
Because I mean that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're finishing sound check according to Skyla, and they're gonna be going live here in the next minute. So.
Oh damn.
So yeah, we're probably gonna hop over here pretty soon.
Yay!
I like Lauren said I like the original better than the remix, but they're both good.
Hey,
But thank
that's
you.
cool.
Yeah.
You're totally allowed to like whichever version you want. For anyone who hasn't heard it, would you like me to play it live for you on stream while we wait for Omnom and Associated Degenerates to get their shit together? Let's
No.
heckin' do it. Let's find it, and then B, do it. So,
I do want to say though, Nero, yeah, the remix, man, it's just so club ready. It's just fucking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Bang.
No, the whole idea was to get it for like a club,
so
Yeah, that vibe's there.
if you guys haven't heard it and you are currently watching the stream, this is what you missed. Here you go. Have it full volume for you. There you go.
Crazy. flesh and bone till I'm scared alone. It just fades away. I wish you wouldn't stay. You're not dead. You're taking it long. I know I should. It's really much too soon. But you can't wait anymore. So go ahead and hurt me dead. Hurt me dead. I want you so.
So that was a snippet of the original, and since these ding-dongs still aren't live, I can go ahead and pull up the other one, which is, can't see and type.
Like some Jamaican air horns.
And the other one is right here. I think.
And Zilly was wondering when this is going to be on Spotify.
It should be on pretty soon, I think. Why are you pretending to be muted? Can we not mutate? Oh, it's because I muted the tab. There we go. That was unmuted. I'm an idiot. There we go.
Squirrel's live.
And it looks like the squirrel finally figured his shit out. So, what I'm going to have you guys do is first I'm going to get the correct link real quick. Grab that. And what we're all going to do collectively is go raid the squirrel. There is a link. I would like to see some raids in chat. Bring the raids. Bring all of them. You can hear it on my stream, but I'm going to be going ahead and turning off the audio, putting my outro music. Everybody go raid. Raid. Go get them. Go do
Thanks,
it.
guys, for hanging out.